Hello, passengers, and welcome aboard the TV Pilot's License with service to LA and the law offices of Franklin and Bash. We ask that you please fasten your headphones, secure your podcasting device, and remember that, unfortunately, our Wi-Fi is down. Oh no, what's that? A fight in the back row? Everyone has to focus on that instead of the Wi-Fi being down?
Welcome to the TV Pilot's License. My name is Geoff Kerbis, joined by Rich Inman and Max Singer. How you boys doing today?
I did all my research on Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire. I can't wait to talk about the Bash Brothers today, guys.
And I will not be going to downtown LA, no matter how hard you beg me to go.
Oh my God. Well, gentlemen, this week we are talking about TNT's Franklin and Bash, which, if you want to watch the pilot before you listen to this episode, you can find it on Netflix. But Max, for folks who are frequent flyers or maybe first-time flyers, what is this podcast all about?
Oh, Rich, why not? We go to Grand Central Market and go to the place that makes $15 PB&J sandwiches.
No.
One thing really quickly. Every time I see downtown LA depicted in like a legal format show, I'm like, wow, how nice and pretty it looks. And you guys always tell me, don't do that. It's a bad idea.
I'm going to peel back some of the LA curtain here, Geoff. People film in downtown LA because it is cheap. That is the only reason downtown LA is depicted in anything. The Die Hard building, Nakatomi Plaza, is downtown. They film like 90% of all car commercials in downtown LA. It is cheap as hell.
Oh, yeah, you want to film a car ad, you put it on the 6th Street Bridge, baby.
That's
it looks
right.
nice on there at
That's
night.
right.
I know that bridge for sure. Max, what's this podcast all about?
Here at TV Pilot's License, we break down and analyze the pilot episodes of some of TV's most famous, or in some cases, infamous shows. We learn more about how these shows came to be and were originally made, if they're effective pilots and making us want to watch more, and if we think they can be made today. Go back and stream our old episodes from wherever you listen to podcasts. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok to see our smiling faces. And if it is your first time flying with us, then welcome aboard.
And Rich, what is your question of the week?
So we've done a couple of these like duo legal procedural shows now. They don't play by the rules. They're really good at the law, but by their own definitions. I'm thinking of Suits. I'm sure there's other examples that we've done. I want to know, what is the dream duo of TV lawyers that you're building, and if you're starting a law firm, what's your dream duo?
Max, you seem very prepared for this.
Yeah, so I picked two real fictitious TV lawyers, and I think that their attributes really complement each other. And so for this question, Rich, I chose Harvey Birdman, attorney at law,
God.
and Charlie Kelly, bird law
lawyer.
expert. I think that they pair each other really nicely. I think they complement each other's skill sets, and I think that they would make a great duo.
Hell yeah, I love that. Jeff?
What is a lawyer? If
Oh,
you think
no.
about it, what?
No.
what
Oh
is
no,
a
we're all going to
lawyer
jail.
if not someone who, teaches us lessons about life and what is right and what is wrong from their perspective. So I'm going to teach two people who are lawyers, and that is Jeff Winger from Community and Barney the dinosaur. Yes, I
Barney
would
the
like
dinosaur.
These two, I would like these two connected, because Jeff Winger, when we think about morals, Jeff Winger is sort of on that gray spectrum of what is right and what is wrong. And then you have Barney the dinosaur, who just, morally sound dinosaur that if I saw in court, I'd be like, wait a minute, this dinosaur's got to have a good point.
No, I have a question for you, Jeff, because canonically, as the theme song states, Barney is a dinosaur from our imagination.
That's right.
So can they see him in the court of law?
Well, I think if it's from all of our imaginations, yes, they can. But if you have a bad imagination, then you're going to be wondering who's arguing on my behalf right now, because I can't see them.
I think you should try to plead insanity.
Rich, what is your answer?
Well, we all went with the chaotic answer, which I'm so happy about. These two people give the same vibe, but with drastically different levels of success. I'm going with Saul Goodman and The Simpsons' Lionel Hutz. I think these are two guys that could easily live out of a suitcase and will go to absolute to the death for you. But yeah, this is it's nothing like Barney the dinosaur.
You picked two people who both believe in like there's the truth and the truth.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know what? I'm
going to the
very
mat.
proud of my answer. And you know what? If you have questions about my answer, put them in the bottom of the clip in the comments.
If you want to help us write
all
a
of our
pilot,
answers today.
if you want to help us write a pilot using all these characters, please let us know.
Well, Rich, thank you for your question of the week. Let's talk a little bit more about Franklin and Bash. I really like how I'm saying and Bash. Like, it just sounds a little bit like there's a little bit of sass behind it. And I'm like, how do you say and Bash? Well, here on this episode, a quick synopsis before we get started. Lawyers and lifelong friends Jared Franklin and Peter Bash are recruited by a large firm's major partner after winning a high-profile case, which is absolutely what we just watched, gentlemen. But before we dive too deep into the legal efforts of Franklin and Bash, Max, can you tell us how this show got made?
Today we are talking about the pilot episode of Franklin and Bash, which originally aired on July 1st, 2011 on TNT. We talk about the show's creator, Kevin Falls, a bit. Kevin Falls first came onto the scene with a screenplay for The Temp in 1993 before cutting his teeth as a writer for shows like Sports Night, Arliss, The West Wing, and North Shore. Go back and listen to TVPL's coverage on Arliss and North Shore for more.
When you said Sports Night, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. And then I heard Arliss, and I was like, oh, yeah, we enjoyed that. And then I heard North Shore, and I thought, this man is a genius that we have not celebrated enough.
In 2007, he created the short-lived Journeyman at NBC about a time-traveling newspaper reporter. Falls co-wrote today's show with Bill Chase, a TV producer who worked as a public defender before pivoting to TV and has served as a consulting producer on a variety of legal dramas. The show was originally developed at TBS, Characters Welcome, but the pilot was picked up for a 10-episode order at sister network TNT, We Know Drama, most likely for the opportunity to create a Wednesday night ampersand power block alongside Rizzoli and Isles. Today's pilot is directed by Jason Ensler, a longtime TV director whose credits include everything from The West Wing to Andy Barker PI, and most recently served as an executive producer and director for the series Love Victor at Hulu and Disney+.
Nice. Hey, everybody's still working from this show. That's a good sign.
That's a great sign. When you see everyone on a cast is still working today, you know that cast had some power players. But let's dive into this episode, this pilot that starts off with a bit of a bang. Not only do we see the horniest mattress ad that we've ever seen in our lives, but we get to see two dudes being dudes who are also ambulance chasing lawyers. So I'm curious for you two, how does this opening scene set the tone for what we're about to watch?
Guys, we made it. We're a real podcast. We finally get to talk about mattress sales.
This segment is brought to you by To Be Continued, To Be Disclosed later. This starts with there's no lower term to a lawyer than ambulance chaser, right? This is like, these are personal injury attorneys. These are people who are chasing very, very small, very, very personal cases. They are doing so while arguing over whether or not one of them can have sex with Marissa Tomei, and the odds of doing so. So this is a little game that they play while waiting for car accidents.
Rich, was I prepared for a greater than 0% chance that you were going to ask us, could you bag Marissa Tomei, which I would then say, I don't feel comfortable answering that question? Yes, I would. Last week we talked about Joey, right? And Max, you brought up the idea that Joey is...
And he is not in this pilot.
Joey, to our knowledge, is not yet in this pilot, but he was free at this moment in time. Max, you brought up the concept of PG, not PNG, Entourage with that show. Does this show from the beginning try to set the tone that it is Entourage but lawyers? And
I was gonna say more Perry Mason meets Animal House.
Yeah, all right.
This we've covered plenty of procedurals. This might be our first procedural drama on this podcast.
Nice.
Oh, there we go. patent pending.
But I think you are onto something, which is that before we even see if they're good at their jobs, we know everything about Franklin and Bash's personality. There are some very clear exposition lines dropped throughout this pilot that set up our world and really tell us who Franklin and Bash are. And you get a taste of their personality through this conversation. They're two dudes sitting at the window seat of this lunch cafe in downtown. You can tell they choose to sit at that open air counter because they need to see the traffic in front of them so that they can do this little song and dance act of running up to a car and a fender bender and offering their business cards that they've probably done 1,000 times before. They pan to their billboard that they see over the city. These are very, very nice video billboards in downtown LA, and that is their crowning achievement. That things they sunk all their money into, and I know so much about them as people before I ever actually see them practice law.
Definitely.
Well, let's talk a little bit about them practicing law, right? Because we get a fairly quick introduction to not only the idea that this is a unsuccessful law firm that somehow can employ Kumail Nanjiani, but also that the idea of how they practice is unorthodox, non-traditional, in the sense of how they work with witnesses and how they team up to be a, how can I say this, misogynistic lawyer, good lawyer combo pattern when they get into the courtroom. And Rich, I'm curious, when you get to see two people be good at their jobs, or good in gigantic air quotes at their jobs, what are you thinking about Franklin and Bash?
They are establishing this narrative of they're going to be the like unorthodox team battling all these gigantic law firms. It is it's the small firm versus gigantic evil firm narrative for almost this entire pilot. And I think what they do is try to essentially cause a scene in every courtroom that they're in. They know that they're taking cases that are difficult to win, and what they're doing is trying to emotionally appeal to both the jury and then cause enough of a disturbance to the judge that they can change their normal it is, and I'm positive this is probably how almost every episode of the show goes throughout this entire run. It's like, there's no way they're winning this case. You don't have the evidence. there's no fucking chance. And until the one writer who says, what if we gave them a really easy one and they lose?
This feels so indebted to 80s comedies and the idea of like Caddyshack's the slobs versus the snobs, the Animal House, and Revenge of the Nerds idea of the lower class taking on the elites in society, this fish out of water bawdy comedy. And it's something that has played for decades and decades, and now we're taking that and we're putting it into a legal show with a twist.
Yeah, they're also like, they're using colorful language. They're telling people to strip on the stand. It is something that's going to be different and sound different from every other like stuffed shirt that they're going to go up against.
But speaking of stuffed shirts, they win this first case in the notion of a mattress ad.
Man, you
that
came
has
in
been
so fast on that.
That has been causing
ready to go for a week.
The first time we've seen them practice law, they are defending a client, the mattress ad model whose ample chest has been causing car accidents in downtown LA, and people are suing the mattress company for their ads, and they're able to distract the opposition and using that lack of ability to create credible testimony to win their case. And it's such this could never happen. It is so bizarre. And I don't know if they're necessarily good at their jobs, but they're so good at what they do specifically that it allows them to win. And I truly think just pocket enough to keep this little enterprise going where we can wear tank tops and play Wii tennis in an apartment together with two other coworkers, two other paralegals.
Yeah, they're also
Rich,
battling.
how many adjectives do you think Max had in his head to not use a
big honkin'
term?
kabonkus?
Max, we have to try to become part of the Crow universe of podcasts. You have to use a little bit more colorful language, bud.
Let the court put the word gazongas on the record.
But speaking of being non-traditional, right?
Speaking of gazongas.
By being unique. By being unique in how these two lawyers approach the law, they get noticed. And this leads us to why today is different than any other day. Obviously, they seem to be struggling. We're given a lot of exposition on the idea of checks are late. They really are hinging on certain clients being able to bring them a payday of sorts just for this gigantic firm that they are going up against for this mattress ad, to be one that not only wants to settle, but wants to take these two in to be their newest lawyers.
And I can't necessarily think of another example of this right now, but I don't know if I've seen a legal procedural show centered around a firm that is struggling to find clients, because every single show that I've watched has been like, you need constant cases coming in. It's not really about the money about it or money of it. It is about the morality of it. It's about the strength of the cases that they build, the lengths that they go to. You never really get to see like a startup law firm, which I thought was interesting.
But I think you do have to take them out of that. Like, you have to get out of the apartment. We have to put them into a new pod, these fish, because there's just not enough stakes in, we run an ambulance chasing small cases firm out of our apartment, and every week is just going to be some small, tiny case that we put a comical background. Like, there's no growth there. There's no room to have an arc.
Yeah.
So we need to take them and we need to put them up against, you know, the conforming society, the expectations of what it means to be a lawyer in a big firm. You have to give them room to grow. You need to give them a system to kind of fight back against if you want Franklin and Bash to evolve at all.
But I think one of the nice things that they do in this pilot, we'll talk a little bit about, I think, this introduction and the idea of being invited into this law firm. The nice thing they do in this first episode is they establish, did I expect to see Malcolm McDowell in this show? Nope. Was I very pleased to see this eccentric partner figure come into our show as well? Yes, because it allows for us to fib around with the rules, right, of what a traditional legal setting in a gigantic law firm looks like. When they say, hey, we want to keep our staff, we want to pick our own cases. And I think that's such an important thing for this pilot, because there are so many legal dramas that we could focus on, right? We could focus on more of your like traditional crime. We could focus on blue collar crime or white collar crime sort of scenarios, like Suits. Instead, they're like, what if we focus on these very odd, unique cases that these types of lawyers may come across? And that little breaking of the rules, I think, is such a nice touch, while still getting the big legal environment ethics questions that come into play.
And Malcolm McDowell's character of Stan Infeld, who is the namesake for the firm, he is an eccentric. He is this person who kind of exists between both worlds. He has this very traditional large firm ethos about him, but he is also a wackadoo. And we see him engage in these eccentric behaviors where you can understand what he sees in Franklin and Bash and like how he wants to utilize them, and he gets some very funny moments in this. And I think it's important to have the head honcho be a little bit of a weirdo, because it makes it easier to side with Franklin and Bash in their quest to go up against a more villainous, evil senior partner at the firm. Like, Malcolm McDowell's intentions are never bad in this. We're not doing a major league where it's like the owner is actually nefarious. Like, the owner is on their side. And I think that helps with understanding these characters.
Yeah. And it also establishes like, hey, this is initially what I wanted my law firm to be. That is like very much like, despite them being as bro-y as you could possibly make these two characters while also keeping them competent at their jobs, It is very much like, you guys remind me of when I was a 25-year-old lawyer, fucking everybody and shooting tequila after.
More, Rich, more.
No, that's it.
We need those keywords. No, I mean, let's talk a little bit about some of the cases that we're involved with in today's episode, because the first one, normally when we talk about procedurals, it seems like there's the rule of threes. You have these three different things that we're going to be dealing with in the episode. Interesting thing about this is we finish the first one really, really quickly. It is at the head of the episode, and it is like, all right, solved, done, cool. We have two big cases that we're dealing with in this instance, and one of them is one that Franklin and Bash brought. Peter Bash is representing a dominatrix who is, there are state-level charges against her for prostitution. And then the other one being more of a, we talk about Sully Sullenberger all the time on this podcast, and it is more
as an
of
aviation podcast. That is
it
important.
is an aviation type thing. Why else would we pick this pilot if not for aviation? So I'm curious, for the two of you, where would you like to start? Is there one that stood out to you as a more intriguing storyline than the other?
Well, I think personally the pilot one becomes more intriguing in the sense that, like, what are you going to do when you get acquired essentially by the gigantic law firm downtown? I'll tell you what you do. Your first case is going to end up going against them. You're going to end up fighting that exact law firm that you just came into. So yeah, this pilot is accused. First of all, he crash landed a plane in Oxnard, which is extremely close to LAX. So very clearly, like, this person, he was accused of leaving the cockpit, having sex with the stewardess, and then going back into the cockpit, and then having to essentially emergency correct a mistake that he made. And frankly, Franklin, he he essentially has to, like, he would have had to sprint out of that cockpit out of taking off if he wanted to crash land a plane in Oxnard. I'm sorry. That's too close. They're banking. You fucking LA writers, you're banking on the fact that nobody else knows LA geography. You're not getting this one past Rich Inman.
What I think this case does a good job of, though, and Max, I'm curious for your perspective, is we have a returning TVPO actor in Reed Diamond, who plays the nephew of our partner, right? And very much seems to be playing and, eating all of the scenery as the most evil lawyer that has ever existed in LA, which I know is false, but it seems like Reed Diamond just said, I'm going to do it on Franklin and Bash. And do you think that this case is used to sort of establish Reed Diamond's character, or more of just establish the morals of our two heroes?
I think it's more for the morals of our two heroes. Reed Diamond's character of Damien Karp, the senior partner, nephew of the head of the firm, is kind of an odd villain to me because we never really get his motivations established in this. He's just kind of evil and breaks the rules for possibly his own private profiting, and is sort of going against the ethos of what it is to, like, have taken an oath and passed the bar and been barred in the state of California. But I think what it does is, like, it requires all parties to come together to bring about resolution. It requires everyone to go up against the big fish in Karp. It requires,
God damn it.
everyone from Jared Franklin to associates to, I believe, this paralegal in Pinder, played by Kumail Nanjiani, to all bring their little bit of Franklin and Bash expertise to bring about positive resolution, which happens in the fastest, least explained way possible in the final minutes of this pilot.
Least explained. You don't think it was done well enough to?
No, I don't. And I think where this pilot does struggle is that it is so committed to the character gags and, like, the personal jokes that whenever it gets into what its plot is. I feel like it has to either really quickly tie up loose ends and put bows on things, and I never feel like anyone's motivations or reasons for doing something are explained.
Yeah. Expressly here, it is the pilot and the airline are being sued for this like reckless endangerment of their passengers, and the airline, who is represented by the large firm, is getting essentially the brunt of it. And that's when the airline represented by is getting the brunt of it, and then the airline tries to pin all of it on the pilot, who they believe is acting out of professional standards that they expect from a pilot. Which, to be honest, if that case was true, they're right. It felt a little bit like yeah, that guy's a bad pilot. If he did actually leave, but they're trying to establish that no, that was not the actual narrative. Yes.
Well, let's point to the other case, though, because
Yeah.
it is a little bit of a different sort of thing, in not establishing this new environment that Franklin and Bash are in, but establishing how they tend to proceed towards these court cases. More of the original Franklin and Bash crew that we literally just met. So, yeah, dummy, why don't you know that this is how they approach the law, in the sense of this dominatrix who might have been wrongly accused of prostitution. I'll show my cards. I thought that this was an interesting way of establishing the character of Peter Bash a little bit more, and the closest we get in this episode, I think, to seeing someone's motivations as a lawyer, because he does a good job of doing everything he possibly can for his client. And if I was to pick a lawyer from Franklin Bash or Reed Diamond's character, Damian Karp, I'm gonna pick Peter Bash, because I think he's just a good guy, like Barney the dinosaur, a great dinosaur lawyer. So I'm curious for you too. What do you think of this case as our second window into these characters?
Peter Bash's lead case here, I think, is the one that toes the line between the two worlds the best, because you get the kind of personal, almost goofy side of he's trying to win this case, but also maybe win the heart of the prosecution and his ex-girlfriend. And he's also trying to be a serious lawyer. Throughout this, we have this rift between Franklin and Bash of one of them wants to maintain the underground ragtag persona. One of them wants to fall in line and show if they can actually do this. And we see with Bash him trying to do both simultaneously. He's trying to demonstrate professionalism while also maybe dropping some hints at an ex. We see him doing some Franklin and Bash like razzle dazzle in the courtroom to maybe win over a judge, while also doing the legal briefings that it takes to win this case at the end. And so we see this character exist in both worlds, even when the evil judge, played by Kathy Najimy, shout out Peggy Hill.
Yeah. We get two King of the Hill voice actors in this.
We do. This is a fantastic day for Rich and I.
And also, what's very funny in this particular moment is that both Franklin and Bash led cases used the Gazanga defense. they're like the only way we're winning this case is if you show off your tits to the judge. I'm like, come on, man! Both cases. Really?
I like. But I will say this, right? As far as the Gazanga defense,
they can't represent a man. It's, your
what is the Gazanga defense for a man? I'll put it in the comments. But as far as that joke goes, I like the continuity of it, if that makes sense, because they're like, oh, we just had Judge. I forgot the judge's name, but he is a bit of a womanizer, so make sure to, unbutton that blouse just to have a different judge who says that's a bad idea, and that judge is being reviewed right now. Like, I think that it is this show does have very clever writing or moments
That
like
is
that.
such a overdone legal trope, though, of don't worry, we got this. It's Judge Emerson doing your case. What? It's another judge.
Yeah, I know.
And this one's evil and a hard ass. What are we gonna do? I've seen that in so many legal proceeding comedies.
Yeah, I also want to make a very clear distinction about if they're playing the morality defense on Franklin and Bash are playing the morality side of all these cases, they would entirely swap just to win. That is it is such a no, we're on the right side of history here. We're defending the dominatrix because she didn't do prostitution. Oh no, she did. Well, oh no, we're gonna lose then. I'm this is it's such a. It feels like it's written by lawyers in the sense that you're not telling me that your side is good. You're telling me that you just want your side to win. It just seems a little strange that way.
Let's get into our
Yes.
pilot ends.
Yes.
Spoiler alert. Franklin and Bash are going to stay at this gigantic law firm.
Damn right.
But I want to talk a little bit more about things we loved about this pilot and maybe things that caused us pause on this pilot, the wait a minute moments. But let's focus on things that we loved about this pilot. Were there any things that you wanted to give a little bit more shine on that maybe we didn't discuss in depth?
I'll do two. I'm going to say that Kumail Nanjiani's character of Pindar being the hero of the day. We've got the agoraphobic paralegal who has his own arc of, I need to leave the house and take public transportation in order to give the big piece of evidence that could save the day. It actually feels like maybe the biggest character arc in this pilot. And man, what an alternative timeline when Kumail Nanjiani could have just been doing supporting roles in sitcoms and not flexing his pecs to sell us DirecTV.
That's how it was for almost 15 years.
And then every show at some point has a place where we need to get everyone together under one roof to tie all of our threads together. And we do that in a house party that could have been out of the show Greek at Franklin and Bash's pad. And we truly get every world in here. We have multiple defendants at this house party, which feels like a massive breach of code.
Oh, yeah.
We have Hannah Linden from our big firm, played by Garcelle from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Shout out to get some Real Housewives in here. We get shooting tequila. We get butts, both men's and women's.
That's right.
This
Equal opportunity.
Yeah, we get this strange house party sequence that does not feel appropriate whatsoever, but it's just such a perfect Franklin and Bash way to tie together all of our worlds.
Rich, what about you?
I got to give a gigantic shout out to Malcolm McDowell's character in this in this pilot. He has a moment where he's learning information while wearing a gi and then positively beating the shit out of someone.
He killed that person. He killed them.
Of a woman sensei that he just absolutely slammed to the ground. He drives an awooga ass car. That was amazing. He also does, in one of the more serious moments of the pilot, some crazy blocking where he surprises Franklin. They had a couple moments where they surprised Franklin, with where characters are speaking at him from, and it's just every single one just filled me with such joy.
Could you imagine if each one was a little bit of a jump scare for Franklin?
Malcolm McDowell has my favorite line in his entire pilot when he exclaims in the middle of a crowd, "I want to hear what Pindar has to say."
Oh, Malcolm McDowell forever. What a perfect addition to that show.
I have two that I'm going to bring up, and one is Alexandra Holden in this. Alexandra Holden, if you're not familiar, two of the movies that I absolutely adore her in were Drop Dead Gorgeous and who can forget the classic that's on that same tier that's known as Rob Schneider's Hot Chicks.
But you mean The Hot Chick?
Did you never watch
The Hot Chick?
The Hot Chick.
The Hot Chick. There you go. But I love her in this pilot. I think that she does a great job with what she is given in this, especially the moment where she is told she has to sign a waiver because Peter Bash walks out of a hot tub nude. That's a moment that I was like, I don't know if I needed it, but I loved the reaction that Alexandra Holden gave me. The second thing, this might seem like a throwaway line, but when the evil CEO of the airline company was like, I pay you guys $850 an hour, I was like, how accurate is that number? So I reached out to our podcast legal expert, Benjamin Reef Schneider. If you're located in the DMV, he can definitely help you out with your legal troubles. But Ben, that's a free ad.
If you've committed a crime.
Yeah, you better sponsor the podcast now. But Ben actually was like, that is about the rate. Like, so they actually looked at this. They looked at the area and looked at that sort of tier of client, and were able to be fairly accurate. And he said, if anything, that's a really solid rate. More expensive would be around $2,000 an hour.
Yeah, I was gonna say I heard $850, and I thought like, oh wow, that's cheap. Like that was my first instinct.
That's I
don't know how much it costs to have a big firm on retainer if you're a Fortune 500 company.
800 to 2,000 an hour was the range that I was given by our legal expert. So, Ben, thank you for that. Let's talk about wait a minute moments, things that cause you pause. And I'll start. If my lawyer is walking around with a guitar on his back, he's not my lawyer anymore. I'm sorry. Like
he's my rhythm guitarist. I'm starting a band.
I don't need you singing sad love songs about how you are heartbroken when you should be. I'm paying you $850 a fucking hour, not for you to jam out.
Oh, come on. Let your lawyer drive around sad at night singing 10cc in his car by himself.
As long as he's not charging me, that's fine. Rich, what about you?
Yeah, there's a line in here that is one of the worst things I've ever heard in a TV show, period. It's and we watch many awful TV shows, that's kind of our gimmick. That's our thing. She's a bitchy little barracuda. I'm getting some movement in the lumberyard. It's one of the worst lines I've ever heard in a script, period. I can't imagine what it must be what it might have been like to be a person who writes out of the box legal procedurals, legal and cop procedurals around this time, because you were eating, vacation homes were purchased. This is some of the worst writing. This almost made me want to disband the WGA. That's how bad this fucking line is.
Max, what about yourself?
Franklin and Bash gets a little bit caught up in its topical jokes that I think actually do it a disservice. So from least egregious to most egregious, least bad offender is going to be the balloon boy jokes from our airline pilot in a hot tub. I actually got a pretty good chuckle out of that one. Second most egregious is going to be multiple jokes in the legal conference room about Susan Boyle.
Yep.
All in a complimentary fashion, but just a very 2011 person to make any kind of joke about. And the most egregious one is when they are in the court, leaving in the hallway from off screen, someone just shouts, "Don't tase me, bro." Yep. Remember that iconic viral video from around this time? "Don't tase me, bro." Well, we just put it in this script verbatim.
So a small aside, that I went to high school with that kid.
You went to high school? Hold on a second. Hold on.
All the stars are in this pile. We got Garcelle from Real Housewives. We got Breckin Meyer. We got Mark Paul Gosselaar. We got Malcolm McDowell. We got "Don't Tase Me, Bro" kid.
Wait, hold on. Wait, was the kid in the episode, or like what? You went to school with the kid from the "Don't Tase Me, Bro" video?
With Andrew Mayer. I went to school with that.
Oh,
that
wow.
person.
Okay. All right.
UF grad. Hope you are doing well. You probably don't remember me, and that
we're gonna have to blur
fine.
a lot of names this episode.
and oh yeah, you gave him where he went to college.
His name is publicly available. That video is
all right.
You cannot say that we have legal counsel and dox someone in a 5-minute span.
What do you think we're paying Ben $850 an hour for? I would be doing a disservice to this episode if I didn't also shout out to the fact that my brother absolutely loves this show, and when he came and visited me in Los Angeles, The only time he came and visited me in Los Angeles, we drove around and he spotted the exterior building of the Franklin and Bash headquarters. I'm sorry, the law office of Malcolm McDowell's place. And said it was the only thing that he was looking forward to seeing coming down there. So,
Well, Rich, you know your brother Peter is named after Peter Bash of
that's right.
Franklin
Yes.
and Bash.
Yes. Peter is 13 years old.
Yes. For me, Max, you sort of hit the nail on the head. There was one line that I just went, ugh. And that was when the dominatrix said, "We met post Tiger." And I was just like,
Right.
I literally had to sit there for a second. And I was like, oh. And I said it disappointed.
Yeah.
Like it is that, you know, when you say something and you just feel the life come out of you a little bit. That was me saying, oh.
I can't believe I missed that one in mine. The exact same thing. Yeah, it's just like it's so caught up in topical.
Yeah.
I feel.
I mean, we do have one more question, and this is an in-flight question. And our in-flight question this week comes from Billy. And Billy's in the DMV, so, you know, you can call Ben. But if you need legal representation...
Are you in legal trouble, Billy?
Billy, are you?
Is this a law
Billy, are
question?
you okay? But Billy asked us, I've never heard of this show, so what do you think the show Franklin and Bash is about on first glance? So I am asking you two gentlemen, just based off of the title alone, what would you make a show called Franklin and Bash about? I have one. I'm excited about it, but I want to hear from the two of you.
Time traveling caper in the style of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure with Benjamin Franklin and Jose Canseco of the Bash Brothers.
And I know that this already exists with the let's pretend that the movie Zootopia doesn't exist. This is an alternative title for Zootopia. This is a cop procedural with a slow turtle and a fast rabbit.
I love it. Max, I was thinking of your idea, but more so in the idea of we have Benjamin Franklin and he throws a different party or bash every single week. And you could have like different guest stars on it as well, like, or it could be a talk show of
you made
sorts.
Franklin's Bash?
Yeah, basically. I said, what if we took off the and then we just had Franklin's Bash? Well, Billy, thank you so much for that in-flight question. If you have an in-flight question that you'd like to submit to the podcast, you can submit those at tvpilotslicense.com, or you can shoot us a text message or leave us a voicemail at 213-290-1713. Let's talk a little bit more about the history of the show. This show had 4 seasons and 40 episodes, all of which were on TNT. But as we said at the top of the episode, if you want to watch this show, you can find it on Netflix. From a cable rating perspective, keeping cable in mind, the show did pretty decently. Yeah. It started off with a little bit over 2 million viewers per episode. It peaked at 3.07 million. And then I couldn't find ratings for that 4th season. So who knows? Maybe it never even aired. Maybe it did. We don't know. But as far as the DVDs, there are DVDs for every single season of this show. The show was broadcast throughout the world as well. And then as far as awards, let's talk about them. 4 nominations, and one of those was a win, and that was for TV music. But that is the history of this show. Rich, it's time for your game of the week.
I'm about to ruin the show a little bit because apparently this show, when being debuted, was dubbed Ally McBeal with balls. That's the worst thing. Oh, God. We have advanced so far past 2011 in so many ways, and then so many ways we haven't. Anyways, all right.
How was this from 2011 and not like 2004?
Dude, I know. This feels like an extension of the American Pie universe. All right.
If you were to tell me that this show was while we had a black president, I would tell you, no, it wasn't. This
is an extremely Bush administration coded show.
Bush administration special.
Franklin and
Are
Bush.
you kidding me? George W. was watching this every night, and I can't do a good George W. Bush impression, but I like to imagine him with a little bowl of popcorn.
I'll do a bad one. I'll do a bad one for us.
I bet these guys didn't read the law books either.
I am not even. Rich, great job. But
so
Rich,
much.
It's time for your game of the week.
Well, we've already brought it up, so it's time for the Franklin and Bash quiz. Question the first: Benjamin Franklin, among being an idealistic founding father of the United States, diplomat in other countries, an all-around eccentric weirdo, he can be credited for all but which fact? A, he invented the modern understanding of the fire department. B, his inventing skills dramatically improved the design of an instrument known as the glass harmonica, which eventually became an instrument used in different Bach and Mozart pieces. C, he is personally responsible due to a series of letters regarding strategy that poker is popular in the United States. D, his experience with electricity involved trying to shock away a man's paralysis.
So the beginning of this question was, which is he not, or which is he?
Which is he not known for?
I'm going to say C, poker strategy.
Let's do B. Why not? B sounds interesting.
Glass harmonica.
Yeah.
It is C. He did not. He is responsible for the popularity of chess in the United States after a series of essays on strategy. All right. Question the second. True or false? The Bash brothers, Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire, who were mentioned more times than Breckin Meyer in this episode, were both part of the Oakland A's 1980s 3 consecutive pennants. They had their trademark handshake of bashing their forearms together. Their rise to and true or false, their rise to fame started after Jose Canseco set the rookie record for home runs in the season of 49.
In fairness, I've watched the Lonely Island's Bash Brothers musical
same.
more than I've watched the Garfield movies with Breckin Meyer.
All right,
Jeff, what do you think? I always give my answer first.
I'll say false. Why not?
And I'll say true. There's only 2 answers.
It was false. Mark McGuire hit those 49 home runs in his rookie season. That's fucking insane. What a time to be alive.
I mean, have you seen the photos of Mark McGuire as a rookie? He's 55 years old on steroids at that point in time.
But yeah.
Don't sue me, please. I swear I have nothing. Now, I do have a dumb question for you each.
Okay.
Rich, you sort of inspired me. You talked a little bit about how Benjamin Franklin was this eccentric figure type.
Oh, yeah.
If
Shock the
Stanton
turkey to death.
Infeld's character was replaced by Malcolm McDowell playing Benjamin Franklin, would you watch more of this show? And then I'm going to ask you my other 2 questions, which are based off of this pilot and the pilot alone. Would you watch more Franklin and Bash? And, legal procedurals. We have a ton of different ones about them. I'm fully expecting there to be we're in Dallas, but not really in Dallas, landman-esque law procedural that's going to come out. You can hire us to be your writers if you'd like.
We clearly
really
love
charge a
legal
low
procedural
rate.
so much.
I am a very, very low rate right now. But,
I'm a 50
do you
an hour.
want more legal procedurals with a spin on TV, or do you want more, non-procedural legal type thrillers on TV? So, Rich, I'm going to start with you. We have 3 questions this week, and you can answer the one about Benjamin Franklin last.
As it goes for this show, I think if I have a lot of laundry to fold, if I haven't done it in a month, absolutely, I'm watching more Franklin and Bash. I'm letting episode 2 roll through, and I'm letting that smooth brain TV wash over me like a warm summer glow. Number 2. We're literally never going to escape legal procedurals. Thanks, Law and Order. You've done quite a service for us. There will forever be Law and Order St. Louis, Law and Order Cyber Crimes Division, Law and Order Food Inspection Unit. It will always keep happening. Do I want more of them? Probably not. But they'll never stop. So enjoy. And for Benjamin Franklin joining the cast of Franklin and Bash, yes. However, it would strike some difficult writing decisions over why it's called Franklin and Bash.
Franklin and Bash.
Yeah, double Franklins.
Max?
Oh, man. In the words of Sade, smooth brain TV show. It's a smooth brain TV show.
Nice.
Every part of me wants to say no to this pilot. And I can't do it. I can't do it. I had fun. Yes, this absolutely earned a second episode. It's not going to be for everyone.
Was it Malcolm McDowell's? Was it his Aluga-ass car?
It is broy as hell, but it did just enough dumb stuff to take me back to that early 2000 style of comedy, despite coming out in 2011, that I could see myself giving it a little bit more. With legal procedurals, they're not really my cup of tea, but we're going to keep finding twists. We're doing new Matlock with Kathy Bates. She's a lawyer, and she's old. We're probably going to come up with a show where there's a lawyer, but they're young. And we're going to keep finding twists that allow for these things
There's a lawyer, but they're gay.
And you know what? Yeah, these things will probably all keep happening. They're a lawyer, but blank. Uh-huh. It's inevitable. They are procedural. You can make them case of the week, and they will be successful, or you could make it a kind of a multi-part thing. I really enjoyed Presumed Innocent last year on Apple TV. So, there are ways to do legal thrillers and procedurals that can be exciting and enticing.
Mm-hmm. And Franklin and Bash?
Oh, yeah. If Malcolm McDowell played Benjamin Franklin, it was just never explained that he was in downtown LA in 2011. This would be the greatest show on TV, yes.
I want to imagine that Benjamin Franklin, as a man of the world, would settle in downtown Los Angeles.
Yeah, he's sitting at that diner conversation talking about Marissa Tomei and Scarlett Johansson, going so you call this a cheesesteak?
For myself, as the president of the Smooth Brain TV Club, yeah, no shit. This is a yes. Are you kidding me?
Jeff's already on season 3.
No, but I literally watched it and I was just like, well, that was fine. Maybe I should watch a second episode just to make sure, tricking myself into watching it. And as far as the legal procedurals, Rich, you talked a little bit about laundry folding shows, and I'm introducing a new category of television that is the reason why we find some of these shows, and that is doctor waiting room television. We need TV that is on in a doctor's waiting room while you are waiting for the doctor that is 40 minutes late to your appointment.
Back in my day, we just had aquariums.
You get sucked into that procedural 5 minutes before it's going to end, and then you get to go into your appointment and you're wondering, wait, can we wait 5 more minutes so I can see what happens at the end of this legal procedural? And then, yeah, Franklin and Bash, sign me the fuck up. Are you kidding me? We can do a spinoff right now, today. I bet you Breckin Meyer would be pumped to be on Franklin and Bash right now. And then Mark Paul Gosselaar, I might have said that wrong, and I'm so sorry. But you know what? Come on the pod, and you can talk about what you would do on Franklin Bash. Well, gentlemen, although I might be slightly delirious, that is the end of this pilot and the end of our flight. But before we go, I want to make sure that folks can find you wherever you'd like to be found. Rich, where can folks find you?
You can find me violently erasing the phrase Burmese shemale from this pilot, and you can also find me. You can also find me on Instagram at Damn That's Rich. You can find original sketch comedy for Max and myself over on TikTok at Dadwagon Comedy.
Max,
you can catch me in the conference room kicking your butt at Wii Tennis, and on all things social media at Maxwell Singh.
And you can find me writing Franklin and Bash with Breckin Meyer. Breckin, I don't know what you want. Benjamin Franklin, yeah, he has all of the degrees.
He's not Joseph Gribble anymore. He has so much free time.
We're making turkeys the national bird. That's the first episode. But if you want to find me on social media, you can find me at Run Jeff Run. If you want to find the TV Pilots License, you can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a review. We have a subscriber goal for a very special episode. That is 250. Yes. So if you can get us to 250 followers on Spotify, we are going to release a very, very special episode that
we're
a
holding
lot of
it
people
hostage.
Have been asking for, but we are scared to do. So make sure to click that follow button on
I'm just scared
Spotify
to edit it.
and follow us anywhere else. If you have questions about the show or for our next episode, maybe you have a suggestion of what we should do next, you can always submit those at tvpilotslicense.com. You can also leave us a voicemail or shoot us a text at 213-290-1713. Make sure to follow us wherever you can to get sneak previews of some of the stuff that we have coming up. But with the plane landed and the seatbelt sign off, we look forward to flying the bright skies of the TV world with you again soon. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies and your fingers on the dial.
I'm getting some movement in the lumberyard.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Now you guys have to hear...